The ink on the contract was dry, the promises were made. But, when tragedy actually struck the shores of Costa Rica, a secret document was pulled from the shadows, and it basically threatened to tear a beloved Hollywood family apart.
It really did.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and, viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we take a deep dive into the stories behind the fame.
And what's really fascinating about today's headline story is how this fiercely private tragedy just instantly transformed into, like, a public legal textbook.
Yeah, completely.
You've got estate lawyers tearing the filings apart, fans arguing over the morality of it on Reddit, and everyone wondering the same thing, right? Like, how did a star known for this pristine, scandal-free image end up at the center of a high-stakes family war?
Exactly. And today, we're looking at the secret prenup Malcolm-Jamal Warner left behind.
It's a heavy one.
It is. We're going to break down the exact dollar amounts that sparked this lawsuit, and believe me, the specific demands in this prenup are unlike anything you've heard.
Oh, for sure. They are highly unusual.
But first, we really need to look at the secret life that started it all. Because before the legal filings hit the timeline, there was just this shocking revelation. A beloved TV icon passes away, leaving behind a family the public never even knew existed.
Right, and that public blindness to his family is, I think, what makes the subsequent fallout so intense.
Yeah.
But to really understand the legal battle, we have to understand the immense emotional weight of how this all started.
So let's go back to July 2025. I remember the initial rumors swirling online. You see these things on social media, and people immediately dismiss them as another celebrity death hoax.
Right, because that happens all the time.
All the time. But then Snopes weighed in. Major outlets like the Associated Press and the New York Times, they confirmed it. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, just 54 years old, had tragically drowned in Costa Rica.
And the specifics of that afternoon at Playa Cocles, it's in the Limon province, they are just harrowing.
Yeah.
The family had taken a surf lesson. After the lesson, they were back in the water, just, enjoying the day, when this notoriously aggressive rip current pulled them out.
Oh, wow.
And Malcolm was out there with his 8-year-old daughter, Mackenzie. Based on the reports, he used everything he had to keep her above water long enough for a surfer to pull her onto a board.
That's incredibly heroic.
It is. He got her to shore, but in doing so, he was pulled under.
A boogie boarder and a doctor eventually found him submerged. They performed CPR for like 45 minutes right there on the beach, but he was gone.
It's absolutely devastating.
It really is.
Yeah.
And when that news broke, the global reaction was just visceral. People were grieving as if they had lost a family member.
Well, yeah, and that reaction stems entirely from what he represented. I mean, he wasn't just another actor to his audience.
No, definitely not.
For an entire generation of Black youth, his portrayal of Theo Huxtable was one of the few warm, joyous representations of a Black teenager on television. Cultural critics like Corey Murray from Ebony magazine, they highlighted how essential that positive image was.
And he didn't just peak as a teen star either. He pulled off something almost impossible in Hollywood.
He really did.
Gil Robertson, the president of the African American Film Critics Association, pointed out that he transitioned into a highly respected adult actor with zero baggage, no scandals.
Not at all.
He was doing critically acclaimed work on The Resident and American Crime Story, even won a Grammy for his poetry. He had this incredibly clean, dignified legacy.
Which, brings us to the inciting incident of this entire legal saga.
Right.
The public thought they knew him, but in the wake of his passing, the world discovered that for years, he had a wife and a child completely hidden from the public eye.
I still can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah,
it's like finding out your favorite childhood neighbor had an entirely separate house you never saw.
That's a good way to put it.
I mean, how does a star of that magnitude keep a wife and child completely off the grid in the modern social media age? We live in a time where fans literally track the private jets of celebrities. How do you hide an entire marriage?
I think it's more extreme than just a second house, honestly. It's an entirely compartmentalized identity.
Yeah.
And from a legal standpoint, that obsessive level of secrecy is exactly what weaponized this lawsuit. According to sources like Bollywood Shotties, Malcolm actually met Dr. Tenisha Hancock when he was 45.
Okay.
They were set up by a mutual friend, and their first date is like a masterclass in blunt communication.
How so?
Well, he told her straight up he was on a self-imposed dating break and didn't want kids. And she told him right then and there that she absolutely did want a family.
So they just shook hands and walked away?
Not quite. They decided to build a friendship instead. They stayed strictly platonic for over 5 months before it turned romantic.
Wow.
And over time, his views on starting a family obviously shifted. Now, there is conflicting information out there regarding the timeline of their union.
Yeah, I saw that.
Places like Wikipedia suggest they were married in 2017, which aligns with the birth of their daughter, Mackenzie. However, the legal documents pulled by TMZ, they paint a very different picture.
What do the documents say?
Those court filings state they dated quietly for 5 years and legally tied the knot in May 2022.
So quite a bit later. But regardless of the exact year, he kept them in a total media blackout. No Instagram soft launches, no red carpet debuts.
Completely hidden.
And honestly, considering he grew up in the blinding spotlight of the 1980s, I can understand wanting your daughter to have a normal life.
Totally.
But the irony is, by keeping his personal and financial life so intensely guarded, the sudden financial fallout caught his own family completely off guard.
Right. He left behind a legacy of immense love, but the paper trail he left behind was just filled with broken promises.
And those broken promises are about to take center stage. Because exactly 1 year after his tragic death, Tenisha sues Malcolm's mother for $1.27 million.
It's just wild.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists and legal deep dives, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead. But first, let's look at the secret document that started this war.
This is exactly where the private life forcefully collides with the public record.
Let's break down this bombshell TMZ report. On July 20, 2026, the exact 1-year anniversary of his drowning treat, Tenisha filed a lawsuit in DeKalb County Superior Court in Georgia.
Yep, exactly 1 year later.
And she isn't suing a faceless Hollywood studio. She is suing Pamela Warner, Malcolm's mother, and his former talent manager.
And, the reason Pamela is named in the suit is critical. Pamela serves as the successor trustee of the Warner Family Trust.
Oh, you're right.
But to understand why Tenisha is demanding over $1 million, we really have to examine the prenuptial agreement they signed in May 2022, literally just days before their wedding.
I was shocked when I read the demands in this prenup.
They are very specific.
Like, if you hear the word prenup, you usually think of a standard, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours document. But this contract had highly specific affirmative obligations.
Yes.
Malcolm didn't just agree to protect his own money. He agreed to fund her life in very specific ways.
And contracts like this are becoming increasingly common among high net worth individuals, specifically to compensate a spouse who might be altering their own career trajectory for the marriage.
Okay, let's look at the breakdown. First, he agreed to maintain a $1 million life insurance policy, naming Tenisha as the sole beneficiary.
Right, $1 million.
And according to the lawsuit, he never actually bought the policy.
Never bought it.
Second, he promised annual tax-free anniversary payments of $16,000. She's claiming over $50,000 for that. He also promised to fund a Roth IRA for her, totaling $30,500.
But I think the most heavily debated clause in this entire document is the employment provision.
Right. The prenup guaranteed a $5,000 monthly salary for Tenisha to serve as his chief of staff and assistant during the marriage.
$5,000 a month.
Yeah. And she claims she performed those duties, but was never paid, resulting in $195,000 in unpaid salary. So when you add all of these unfulfilled promises together, the total hits exactly $1,276,042.46.
It's incredibly precise, and if you've ever wondered if a prenup actually holds up in court, this case is the ultimate stress test.
Seriously.
And the public discourse around this has been incredibly divisive. We analyzed the conversations on Reddit, specifically the subreddit Black People of Reddit.
Yeah, we should clarify, we aren't endorsing any viewpoints here, just reporting on the cultural conversation.
Right.
But the divide is sharp.
Very sharp. Half the internet is playing judge and jury, completely tearing her apart.
Right.
You see a lot of users instantly judging Tenisha, questioning the transactional nature of the marriage. They are asking how you can grieve a husband while simultaneously billing his mother for a chief of staff salary.
It's a tough looks for some people.
It is. But on the other side of the aisle, you have a fierce counter-reaction. A user named InternalPralin658 defended Tenisha against what they viewed as misogynistic attacks.
Interesting.
They argued that Malcolm signed a legal contract to protect the mother of his child. He failed to execute his end of the bargain. So why should the widow be villainized for trying to collect on a legally binding agreement to support their daughter?
See, this is where I get a bit confused by the mechanics of it all.
Okay, how so?
Another user pointed out that Malcolm's net worth was reportedly around $3.4 million. But apparently, He didn't have the liquid cash in his personal estate to pay out a $1.2 million debt.
Right, that's true.
So Tenisha is suing the Warner family trust instead. To me, suing his estate is like trying to sue a ghost because the estate doesn't actually hold the money. The trust is like a vault he built and locked up years ago, and Tanisha's basically showing up with a modern receipt trying to force the vault open.
That vault analogy gets right to the heart of the legal friction, honestly, but we need to explain why the vault is locked.
Please do.
Peter Leeson's book on prenuptial agreements dives into this mechanism. Prenups are totally private documents. There's no public registry. They only see the light of day when someone dies or divorces, and a dispute forces them into state courts.
Which is how this private family drama ended up on TMZ in the first place.
Exactly. But the reason she is attacking the trust, the vault, is due to how wealthy individuals avoid probate.
Probate is the public process, right?
Yeah, probate is the public, often messy legal process of distributing a dead person's assets. To avoid that, people put their assets into a living trust. Legally, the trust owns the houses, the bank accounts, the investments.
No, right.
When the person dies, they technically die penniless on paper because the trust owns everything.
So his personal estate actually has empty pockets.
Precisely. Tanisha is claiming that Malcolm's personal estate is unrepresented, like no executor has even been formally appointed yet, and it is completely inadequate to cover this $1.2 million bet.
Right.
She has to bypass the empty estate and go straight for the trust where the actual wealth is stored.
And that's not even the wildest part. Later, we'll talk about the strategic legal loophole Tanisha's using that nobody saw coming.
It's a huge pivot.
But first, if you're hooked on the legal mechanics behind this Hollywood tragedy, hit that subscribe button. Because this brings us to the most fascinating maneuver in this entire story. A grieving widow rebrands herself as a corporate creditor to bypass a state law.
Yeah, this strategy completely reframes how we view marriage contracts. It's a brilliant legal chess match.
Bringing in the analysis from the YouTube channel Campire and reports from the Tribune, we see what Tanisha's lawyers are actually doing.
Right.
She is not walking into court as a grieving widow asking for her fair share of an inheritance. She is walking into court as a creditor collecting an unpaid business debt.
And that distinction, it changes the entire playing field.
How much does it change things?
A lot. Inheritances can be contested by other family members. Inheritances wait at the back of the line. But debts, in estate law, secured creditors and contracted debts get paid out before any family member inherits a single dime.
Wow. So she jumps to the front of the line. Her argument is incredibly clinical and effective, right? Malcolm signed a contract. She fulfilled her end of the contract by entering into the marriage, serving as his chief of staff, and remaining in the marriage until his death.
Right.
Therefore, the estate owes her this money, just like they would owe a bank for a mortgage.
Furthermore, she had to move incredibly fast due to the statute of limitations.
Oh, because she filed on the exact anniversary.
Yeah. In a press statement provided by her legal counsel, Tanisha explained that she was struggling to care for their daughter as a single mom and sole provider.
That makes sense.
She stated she was legally forced to act before the window closed, seeking to have herself and her daughter recognized as omitted heirs.
Wait, what exactly is an omitted heir? Does that just mean they forgot to write her into the will?
Sort of.
Yeah.
An omitted heir is a specific legal carve-out. It basically argues to a judge, hey, I wasn't included in the trust or the will, but only because I wasn't in the picture when it was originally drafted.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, not because the deceased intentionally wanted to cut me out. It's a backdoor way for a spouse or child to claim a piece of the pie when the estate documents are severely outdated.
And in this case, the documents are ancient. The Warner Family Trust wasn't created a few years ago. According to the court filings, Malcolm set up this trust in 1996.
Almost 30 years ago.
Decades before he even met Tanisha. And Pamela Warner, his mother, controls it. Tanisha is asking the court to freeze Pamela from distributing any trust assets while this lawsuit plays out.
Which tells you a lot. The request to freeze the assets tells you she is terrified that Pamela might distribute the money to the other beneficiaries, leaving the vault completely empty before Tanisha can collect.
Who are the other beneficiaries?
Court documents indicate the trust allocates assets to Malcolm's mother, his father, and a half-sister.
But how can a trust established in 1996 be held legally responsible for a personal prenup signed in 2022? If I set up a trust to protect my wealth in the 90s and then sign a personal contract decades later, my trust shouldn't be liable for my personal mistakes, right?
Well, that is the exact defense Pamela Warner's legal team is going to deploy.
I would think so.
They will argue that the trust was never a party to the 2022 prenup. The obligations to buy life insurance and pay a salary were personal to Malcolm. And as we discussed, trusts are specifically built to shield assets from exactly this kind of retroactive creditor claim.
So Tanisha is trying to pierce the armor of a 30-year-old legal fortress.
She is. Her lawyers will argue that a contract debt doesn't just evaporate because a person dies.
Right.
If the estate doesn't have the funds because all the wealth was funneled into the trust, she will argue that the court has a legal obligation to follow the money, pierce the trust, and settle the debt.
You know, we can sit here and debate creditors and omitted heirs and statute of limitations all day, but at the center of this paperwork is a family in deep mourning.
Absolutely. The contrast between the cold, clinical nature of this litigation and the emotional reality of the family is what makes this story so heavy to consume.
It really is jarring. You look at Pamela Warner. On the first anniversary of his death, the exact same day this $1.2 million lawsuit was filed against her, she posted this incredibly touching Instagram tribute on a newly established memorial account.
I saw that.
She wrote that there was nothing left unsaid between them, and that she has found peace knowing he didn't suffer in his final moments. She called him her teacher, coach, confidant, and best friend.
And on the other side, you have Tenisha, who is aggressively managing his legacy in her own way. In September, she launched 2 philanthropic foundations in his honor, River and Ember.
Right.
One provides scholarships for art students, and the other offers creative toolkits for parents and kids. And right in the middle of this intense lawsuit dropping, she's preparing for a major sit-down interview with Gayle King on CBS Mornings.
Taking your case to Gayle King is definitely one way to win the court of public opinion.
It is a deliberate media strategy, undoubtedly. But if you step back from the tactics, it is just profoundly tragic. This is a family mourning an incredible talent, a man who was a devoted father and a beloved son, who managed to navigate decades in Hollywood without a single public scandal.
And now his mother and his widow are forced to litigate their grief and their financial survival in the glaring public eye.
It's devastating.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in this ongoing legal saga, because you know we will be tracking this case as it moves through the Georgia courts.
You know, if we connect all of these legal mechanics to the bigger picture, it raises a deeply uncomfortable question about legacy and wealth protection. We spend our lives building wealth, drafting contracts, setting up trusts, and making very specific promises to the people we love. But when the unthinkable happens, can a clinical legal document ever truly capture the complexities of a family's grief?
That's a great point.
It forces you to look at your own life and ask, what happens when our private promises outlive our physical ability to fulfill them?
That is a haunting thought. Does a signature on a page truly protect the people we leave behind? Or does it just hand them a different kind of burden when the ink is finally dragged into the light? You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.